Good morning. Today I will talk on the topic Nation and Identity Crisis, an analysis of Kiran Desai's The Inheritance of Loss. Okay, so this particular novel, Inheritance of Loss, is prescribed in the syllabus for the PG students, PG semester 4 students, and this is from the paper EC1, and this particular part is from Women's Literature Unit 5, Kiran Desai's novel Inheritance of Loss. Okay, so this is the novel, this is the particular novel. Let us know something about the novel first. So this is the second novel by Kiran Desai. Kiran Desai was the daughter of Anita Desai. Her mother was also a famous novel writer and she was very much popular in diaspora writing and all. So this particular novel was first published in 2006, and the novel's impact on the literary field was huge, and it was also the winner of the Man Booker Prize in the year 2006. Interestingly, this particular novel was written over a period of almost 7 years, and it is very much impactful on the concepts of diaspora and diaspora writing. So here the main theme of the novels include the concept of migration, and it is the concept of living between the two worlds and also between the past and the present. So a kind of spatio-temporal provisions is there, and if you read the novel closely, you can see that there are certain shifts, such certain spatio-temporal shifts in the narrative perspective as well. Okay, so let's move to the novel. So this novel is about mainly two characters. One is Biju and another one is Sai. Biju is an Indian who lives in United States and who actually reached there illegally as an illegal immigrant. Actually, what happened? Biju went to USA with a traveler's visa, and after the expiry of the visa, he stayed there and he used to work in a restaurant. And incidentally, Biju was the son of a cook who works for this little guy, 16-year-old girl, Sai's grandfather. So Sai is an orphaned girl who lives in the mountains of Kalimpong. Kalimpong is a beautiful district in West Bengal. It's a hilly district, and she lives there with her maternal grandfather Jemubhai Patel. Along with them, there was the cook, the father of Biju, okay, and there was a dog named the Mutt. So, in this particular novel, those who do not know about the novel, this particular novel provides a contrasting life between the life of Biju and the life of Sai, the young girl. So, here on one hand, it shows both the internal conflicts within India, because Sai was living in a hilly state, hilly district of West Bengal, where the hilly people, the Nepali people, they are actually against the sovereignty of the nation. They wants to break free. It also talks about the backdrop of the GNLF movement, the Gorkhaland movement. Okay, and uh, there is a strong rejection and awe of English life. For example, this particular guy, Jemubhai Patel, the grandfather of Sai, who was a retired judge. And what happened? Jemubhai Patel used to live a life. He used to lead a British life. He was he studied in England and he become a judge. So he has adopted that kind of British lifestyle. So there is some kind of hybrid element in this particular novel and in the life of the judge, and it's a strong rejection of how common folks of India do not consider the British British tradition loving judge in his own country. So this is very important from that perspective. So Sai's grandfather, the retired judge, was anglicized. To borrow the quotation of Salman Rushdie, it's a kind of chutneyfication. Anglicized means he was follower of, he was a staunch follower of the British tradition. So he was neither Gharka nor Baharka. He is neither Indian nor British, and he used to love to forget the traditional ways of Indian life. So, for example, it's a very funny example. He used to have chapati with fork and knife. So you can understand, a roti or chapati cannot be eaten through fork and knife, right? But being a staunch follower of the British tradition, he used to do that. So it's a kind of mocking thing, but it also talks about the plights of the hybridized people. And this novel also talks about the Gorkha movement, where a particular group of people, they want to break free from the country where they actually live. So they want to create a separate state for themselves. So it's a kind of disintegration of the nation, the concept of nation. Okay. So in this particular novel, there are certain aspects which needs to be addressed. Here, the post-colonial universe, it has some kind of confused amalgamation. What? It has the amalgamation of the colonial neurosis, the colonial hangover, we must say, and on the other hand, there is a continuous quest for a distinct identity to create his own identity. So this amalgamation of colonial hangover and an identity of his own, it creates a kind of problematic scenario in mostly all the third world countries. So neither these geographical boundaries of the map nor the spheres of the homogeneous cultural domain offer a watertight identity of a nation in building. So on one hand, we can see there is a deconstruction of the concept of global village and the idea of multicultural world in the so-called transcultural space, which hardly had any kind of existence. Here, everybody wants to create their own world, and in the flow of continuous displacement, everybody, in order to secure their existence, talks about certain bookish terms like global village or multiculturalism. So this situation is indeed very thought-provoking and demands a serious investigation. And here in this particular novel, we can see Kiran Desai has taken these particular aspects for analyzing. Okay, so this particular novel historically accompanied the rise of nation, and secondly, the novel joined the newspaper, the idea of newspaper, which as the major vehicle of national print media, and which actually helps to standardize language, encourage literacy, and remove mutual incomprehensibility. But this is something which creates the nation. Let us get back to that in the later stage of my talk. So in this particular novel, the Inheritance of Laws, it depicts the crisis of primarily four characters: the judge, which I have already mentioned, Jemubhai Patel. Then there is the Sai is the judge, 16-year-old granddaughter. Then there is Biju, who is the judge's cook's son, and who was also the illegal immigrant to USA, and Gyan. Gyan is very important character in this particular novel. He was the science Nepali teacher, and several other secondary characters are also there, like Lola, Noni, then there is Father Booty, Uncle Potty, etc. So all of them, either voluntarily or against their will, are displaced from their origin, and it creates a chaotic effect on their existence. So when we read the novel, we'll come across all the characters and their own plights. So the individual scenarios which they undergo are distinct from each other, and yet they possess a striking resemblance when considered together in the macrocosmic level, of nation. Okay, so in this particular novel, we can see there are many perception of nationhood which is being presented and which is being varied from character to character. So idea of nationhood are statically and statistically presented throughout this novel. For most of the characters, the very idea of nation is a very confused thing and has become a mere concept when they can ascribe certain demography and as well as certain ideology. First, take Sai. She is a young girl and she is the most prominent example of this kind of confusion. On one hand, she possesses an artificial personality, just like her grandfather, and also cannot withstand cultural and social inferiority. She always thinks herself as a superior group of people, and although she ideologically talks about cultural and economic equality and also shows some kind of large heart, but deep down in her mind, she is equally fanatic, just like her grandfather. Her nation is equally fragmented and small, and perhaps her intra-diasporic upbringings in the missionary hostel, say, or in her family, or with the life which she has spent with her dear ones, these were all responsible for this kind of negative growth. And when she visited Gyan's house later in the latter stage of the novel, she had encountered some kind of dystopian image, the poor state of the life of Nepali immigrants, which she secretly discovers after a verbal fight with Gyan, and which creates the moment of epiphany for Sai. And it is at this point she breaks down, and thus her individuality, which forms her small claustrophobic world, gets exposed to us. Similarly, there are other people, for example, the judge, Jemubhai Patel. So, he belongs to a kind of hybrid culture, and it also creates a claustrophobic identity for the person. And the best example, Jemubhai Patel never places himself properly neither to Indian culture nor to the foreign culture, and at the end leads an isolated, unpleasant life. He desperately ignores the Indianness around him. When he was selected for ICS, Indian Civil Service, he was selected for Indian Civil Service, but he desperately ignores all the Indianness beside him. He does not come across a single soul. Same Mr. Bose, apart from Mr. Bose, he does not come across a single soul with whom he can actually share his emotion, with whom he can actually talk. Neither his late wife nor his uneducated clan could understand him and his desperate effort at the end to search for the dog. Mutt was actually lost in the course of the novel. So, his quest goes on till the end of the novel, which perhaps symbolically reflect how he was searching for his own identity. Then there is another character who is Gyan. For Gyan, the concept of nation is very ambivalent and it actually confuses him and all the people like him. On one hand, he lives in India, consider India as his motherland, but on the other hand, he later joins the GNLF movement. This is the Gorkhaland movement and openly participates in the campaign for a separate Gorkhaland. His culture is very much confused and he enjoys the aristocratic atmosphere of Choyo, but Choyo is the house of Sai. But he later tells the GNLF volunteers that the judge is actually keeping a gun. So he considers himself racially minor and hence his existence in India seems like an exile to him. Throughout the novel, he suffers from an identity crisis and he cannot reciprocate his love for Sai. Actually, Sai and Gyan, they were romantically involved during the tuition and he could not reciprocate his love for Sai because of those reasons. His socio-economic minority largely determines the idea of a fragmented nation for him from an individual level and it is also prominent, it cannot be ignored. The GNLF movement and its development as shown in the novel is nothing but a collective outburst of Gyan's individual experience and the concept of exile living in his own motherland and hence this particular movement loses its true ideology and integrity to a large extent. So, in this particular novel, the concept of nationhood had been analyzed in various levels. The novel raises several questions over the issues of cultural identity and questions the very concept of nation and nationhood. This idea of nation and nationhood is almost brought to a farcical level by Syed Said. Syed Said was an illegal immigrant who was actually living with Biju and whom he has befriended in USA. According to Syed, nationhood is the least important criteria in his life and he is truly a man of no nation. This is very funny also, but this creates some kind of eye-opening things. For example, he is from the nation Zanzibar. It's an African nation and he works in the restaurant of USA. He marries an American woman to get the green card. Obviously, green card was a great attraction, the permanent visa and his individual identity in his nation. In one of his confession, he says, I am first a Muslim, then a Zanzibari and finally an US citizen. So, his choice of nation is very much conscious and it's very much self-decided also. And he is always very much happy in his own decision. So, Syed's choice of nation and national identity is contrasted with that of Biju. Biju is the cook's son. So, Biju's choice of going to USA to earn lot of money by working in the restaurant is guided by the circumstances. He encounters various dystopian experiences in USA where the expectations and realities become topsy-turvy. The behavior he witnesses from an Indian owner of a restaurant who refuses to pay the doctor's bill for an ill Biju shatters his idea of brotherhood. On the other hand, when he receives various help from Syed, an unknown Zanzibari in an unknown land, Biju's idea of nation has been deconstructed. He readily writes to his father about his prejudice about Muslims and how wrong he was. He also appreciates the positive aspects of this multicultural world, and thus he creates his nation through his experience. The other minor characters in the novel, especially the two elderly Bengali sisters, Lola and Noni, Aunt Lola and Aunt Noni, also offer significant involvement in depicting the post-colonial reality and in the construction of the fragmented nation. The shallow view of their notions about nation is self-contradictory. I will give one example. One of On one hand, they talks about the colonial neuroses and criticizes V.S. Naipaul's novel A Bend in the River and the stance of the author also. But on the other hand, they themselves are nostalgic about their glorious past but does not do anything significant to contribute in the nation in making. They are proud enough to showcase their linguistic hegemony and obnoxiously utter Bengalis' higher intellectuality over the others, especially the hilly people, the Gorkha people. Yet, they talk about a complete nation when they are in distress. When they are in distress during the GNLF movement, during the Gorkhaland movement, they talks about why we belong to India and this Gorkha people has no right to throw us from our particular nation. So they actually forget when they are in distress about their ideology, about their understanding. So superficially, Kiran Desai here attacks this hypocrisy, and she is uh, actually spot on to detect the problem of nation building after the independence. So, if we study the novel closely, we can see the concept of nation exists in the world of immigration, in the world of passports, in the world of visas, and it is nothing but an unreal conception. The novelist criticizes this unreal distinction and boundaries of nation through the presentation of the illegal immigrants for whom the nation is not restrictive to those official formalities of passports and visas and immigrations. They do not care about the official stamp of a nation, yet they are perhaps the most ambivalent characters in this particular aspect. On one hand, they hate the nation where they immigrate, they hate the people, their culture, etc. And on the other hand, they are more than willing to stay there in order to earn more than their motherland. They are exposed to a cultural dilemma. That is why people like Harris Harry exist, who neither can adopt the target culture properly, nor can he set his root properly. So, na ghar ka na bahar ka. I have talked about that concept. So, the people like Harris Harry in the novel, they are from the neither side. As the very name suggests, he is in fact hang between and thrives for an identity which he never achieves. Harris Harry. The situation of the hills, especially the Gorkhaland movement, also deserves special attention in this particular novel. It enables the author to criticize the nation making or nation breaking exercise on part of the GNLF leaders who misguide their fellow followers through their hegemonic power. They stimulate the public emotion and needs to use them in their favor. Hence, the participation of the common mass in such movement is not spontaneous. Rather, it is something which is forced upon them. Like people like Gyan, they have been forced upon to take participation in the particular movement. Thus, to GNLF leaders, nationhood and separate national identity is nothing but an opportunity to succumb power, which is also exposed by the novelist by showing their naked greed and corrupt ideology of all those GNLF leaders, like as exemplified by the character of Pradhan. So the two picture of nation does not exist in the piece of paper, it exists in the hearts of those people who live in the soil of the nation. But it has been a sad lot of people where people have been living in the hungry, thirsty and half naked and like living corpse from generation to generation. So there is the talking of nationalism become a kind of sheer dishonesty. In that condition, the relationship between collectivity and community starts to fall apart, and there take place a kind of disintegrating force to regenerate a great deal of disorder and disobedience. Okay, so the novel shows how the concept of nation is on the verge of disintegration and every individual is responsible for it. Okay, so I'll conclude my talk by pointing out the aspect that the very concept of nation lacks its most important characteristic feature, its homogeneous identity as a nation. All the characters described in the novel, they are involved with their individual involvement to elucidate the idea that the idea of nation is what they perceive from their individual benefit, and the ideology of nationalism has nothing to do with it. The novel thus serves a kind of eye opener to us and raises an important question, whether the individual existence of a person in the transcultural space at all realises the microcosmic life of a nation, or is it altogether a kind of unwanted existence? Thank you.